Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new and just tuning in, hello and welcome. Normally my channel is basically unboxing things, but I don't have a plethora of that right now, and I've got a bunch of stories from my life, more recently and less recently, but this one's a kind of recently, about 1.5 years ago event, and I had filmed it yesterday, but in it I missed a key part of the story that I just totally forgot about because I was so mad about the whole thing in general. And so I thought I'd refilm it. So if you see the second video of the second story time, and it says I filmed another video in the same clothes and makeup, it was originally filmed in the same clothes and makeup, but now I'm redoing it a day later. Hannah filmed a story that had part of my story in it, and it reminded me of a key part that I was missing, so that's why I'm refilming it. For the sake of this video, and if I can remember not to do it and not have to refilm it again, this girl's name is going to be Brittany. It's not Brittany, but for just the sake of this video and not getting in any trouble, possibly for any legal issues if she were to ever come across this, which I highly doubt and hope not, but if she were to ever, this is going to be a different name, so she can't have legal action against me. And I'm not going to say a last name either, so she can't kill me. Well, legally anyway. She can threaten to, but it ain't gonna work. Anyhow, so I'm gonna try and shorten this because the way I described it in the last video, it was like really long, and I don't want it to be. Basically, for reasons on their own, in another story that I will eventually tell you guys in full when I have the ending details, because it's still going on, for reasons that I'm going to discuss later, I was on the verge of not having a place to live, and an old friend of mine, Brittany, from college, sorry for the wind, by the way, I'm outside and it's just going crazy, but an old friend of mine and I reconnected, and we had originally broke up our friendship over something dumb, like it was about gas money and her wanting me to pay her gas money to drive just across town to come get me because I didn't own a car at the time, and I thought that was ridiculous, so I ended the friendship because I didn't want to deal with that. Anyways, so I decided to give her, you know, another chance. We both had cars at this time, so I knew it wouldn't be an issue anymore. In hindsight, I really wish I didn't, but I'm that type of person to usually give somebody a second chance, so I did. Maybe I'll be less likely to do that in the near future if that ever happens to me again or anything like it. Anyhow, she contacts me and said, well, if you need a place to live, we have a room, you can pay some rent and that'll be fine. And so I'm like, I don't even think I can afford that. I barely make any money at my job and I need to pay my car. I'll just live in my car, it's fine, whatever. Sorry. And so I don't know how it got to the topic of the fact that we had a washer and dryer for sale, but we did, and it was about $700, $800 worth of like washer and dryer, and she's like, how much are you selling the washer and dryer for? And I told her. She's like, oh, I can't afford that, but we've been needing a washer and dryer, so I thought I'd ask. And I said, well, if you're in a tight spot with cash and I'm in a tight spot with cash, how about we do a trade-off? Since it's worth this much and you wanted rent in this much amount, we can do 2 months of rent free, and I'll just pay for groceries to help out, so we can all eat. Sorry if you hear the dog squeaking his toy. I'm still gonna continue because I have no other time to film this. But we decided that she'd get the washer and dryer in exchange for 2 months of me living there. And we were both okay with that. All in all, we signed an agreement for it. It took forever, and I don't really want to go into details of it, but we signed an agreement on the day that she took them, which is the day I moved in, and she comes and she gets them and takes them, and I start moving my things in, and then we sign in the agreement that says what's going to be rent after those 2 months if I decide to stay after those 2 months, and how much to pay for food, and the rules and pay and quit and all of that stuff. We put it in an agreement, and she wrote it up, and I signed it, and she signed it, and her husband signed it, and everybody signed it. And so we were good to go. I moved my stuff in. We were fine for 3 weeks. We were even discussing a camping trip in the near future. I was really excited. I had plans to go to the Bay Area for a week. So I got my tattoo with Hannah because it was her birthday tattoo. So she got one and I got one. That's a whole nother story I can tell you guys another time, because that was a interesting experience. It was my first tattoo. And it was a crazy experience, but I can tell you guys about that one later too. If you want, just let me know in the comments. Anyways, she said, yeah, that's fine if you go, to, the Bay Area for the week. And I said, I need you to check into my cat, the water bowl, make sure it's full, the food, check the litter. If it needs to be changed, please change it. She said that, yeah, that's fine since you gave me notice, but I can't do that every time. And I said, that's okay. I understand. This is like a one-time thing. I don't ever get to go out there. Everyone's available this week. And so she said, yeah, that's fine. And so I go to the Bay Area for the week. I come back. It's like the very end of the month. The very, very, very end of the month. Not April. It wasn't until what is before April? January, February, March. It's the end of March. Sorry guys, I'm crazy bad with months and dates and everything. So it's the end of March, because that's right before Hannah's birthday, and this is when the story ends, is on Hannah's birthday. Anyhow, I get back March 31st, and I had already paid grocery money to her right before I left, for those 2 months ahead of time, so I wouldn't have to worry about any cash coming out, other than for my own expenses for those 2 months that I was going to be living there. And I got a receipt for it and everything, in the form of text message, because she never ended up giving me a written receipt like I had asked. So I had proof that I had paid her, and proof that I had given her the washer and dryer, that we made the agreement for 2 months. And I get home and no one's home. And I went into my room, and there were some things moved around my closet. And so I texted her and I said, has anyone been in my room, or did my cat just like move something or knock it over? And she's like, yeah, we had to go in there. The electrician, there was something in the box in your room in the closet that he needed to get to. And so I was like, okay, whatever, even though nobody's supposed to go in there without asking me permission. It's fine. Next time, please just ask me before you walk into my room. If you know ahead of time he's coming, that'd be great. And she's like, I didn't want to bug you. You were away. And I was like, I still would have liked to have known for future reference. So I go to do my laundry, and I put my laundry in the washer. It washes, it finishes. I go to change it out, and I notice that there is laundry in the dryer. And I feel it, of course. I'm not just going to take it out if it's wet. And it's cold, but it doesn't feel wet to me. So I take them out and I put them on the couch, because I'm not allowed in their room without their permission and when the door's not open. So I put them on the couch, and I didn't text her because I didn't think to text her about it. I figured she'd see it when she got home and thank me later for taking them out. Or not thank me, because I didn't really do anything. I just took them out so I can do my own laundry. But I figured she'd see it when she got home, and that would be that. And so I put mine in the dryer, and then I go back to my room. I'm working on some stuff. I hear him come home. And I go out to check on my laundry, and I notice that my laundry is now on the couch, and theirs is in the dryer. And I'm like, well, why is my laundry on the couch if it's not dry? And she's like, because you took mine out before it was dry and decided to throw it on the couch, so now I'm going to do the same to you. And I was like, but it wasn't wet. I felt it. It was cold, but it wasn't wet. She's like, you're lying. They were in the washer. You just took them out so you can do your own laundry first. And I was like, I didn't do that. I wouldn't do that. But if you don't believe me, whatever. And so I take my clothes, my wet clothes, to my room because they're soaking wet. And she's like, get them off my couch. And she comes into my room after me, and she's like, do not stomp through my house. My son is asleep. You need to respect him and his hours of sleep time. I was like, I didn't know he was asleep. I don't know his hours. I've just met you guys. Like, how am I supposed to know when he's asleep if you don't tell me? And so I was arguing with her about it because that was kind of rude of her to think that I was stomping when I wasn't, when I had a thing of heavy clothes. And I was pissed at her, obviously, because she took out my wet clothes. She was being petty. Even if I had taken out her clothes and they were wet, she's being petty about it. I said I was sorry if they were wet. I didn't realize, and she just wouldn't accept it. She was being petty. So, of course I'm going to be mad. But she's like, if you're going to disrespect me, you can get out of my house. I don't remember the entire story. I do have the text messages somewhere, but I don't want to go back and find them. Maybe I will do, if you guys really want me to, I can find all the text messages, put them in order, and then just do a video of me reading you our text messages back and forth, because boy, are they funny. However, I'm not going to go into detail on them now. It's already going to be a long video. So all in all, we both argued with each other. She asked me to get out. I said I have 30 days legally, and you'd have to pay me back the second portion of the washer and dryer because we had made that agreement. And she's like, oh, I don't have that money, so you're not getting it back. You need to get out or I'll call the cops on you. And I'm like, well, I'm not leaving. I have 30 days legally. And so I called Hannah, bawling, told her what was going on. Then she said, she asked Dakota's sister if it was okay for me to move in. And that's the next story that you'll see, if you watch them in order anyway, is the story of me living with Dakota, Hannah, and his sister. And I'll tell you guys about that one later too, in the next story time. But that will be my next video, so you guys will see it next. And so I was gonna have a place to live with them because Dakota's sister, I'm gonna name her Carissa, she decided that it was okay that I come live with them rent free, and that was the only way I could do it. So I felt bad, but she said it was more than fine, and that we'd eventually find our own bigger apartment and I'd start paying rent then. So we'd agreed upon it. But I start packing up my things because I don't trust her at this point, in my room and everything, with everything going on, to not have my valuables taken. So I start moving my stuff out, and I don't remember how this happened because it's been so long, but All I know is that I called the cops first, and they weren't going to come and do anything about it. Sorry, the wind is going crazy, so the dogs are going crazy too. But they weren't going to come and do anything about it. I just basically felt unsafe by them because they were like being very malicious and rude to me. And so I didn't feel safe, and I just wanted somebody there to escort me out. And they wouldn't send anybody, but I just remember I was taking my things out to my car, and my mom was on her way to come help me move my stuff, and Hannah and Carissa, Dakota's sister, that's her name for the story, but it's not her real name, just to clarify, they came and they were helping me move, and the cops show up, and I was like, well, they had said that they weren't going to come, so why are they here now? And he's like, so I hear you're threatening her and her son. I was like, are you kidding me? And this is when her husband shows up, and I'm like trying to like figure this out and like explain to him what the heck is going on for real. And the whole thing was just so bad. But anyways, I like explained to the cop, and I told him what was going on, and then everybody was helping me move out, and the cop said, or Brittany, I almost said her real name again, Brittany, says to me, I don't want your friend in my house, without my permission, and I don't give her permission to be in my house. And I was like, what are you talking about? This is the last day I'm going to be here. I need her help moving. Unless you want to help me yourself, which I don't trust you, so no. I need her help. And the cop says that she doesn't want her in the house. She's not allowed in the house. You know, she's intoxicated, and being very rude and loud. And I was like, well, that's not my problem. You want me out, I'm moving. I need help. And so I finished my stuff, and Carissa stays in the car. They ask for his badge number or his name because he was being very rude, and he wouldn't give it to him. So on their way back to Carissa's apartment, they call the department, and they ask, like they took I think they got his license plate because he followed them after they left. Thinking that both of my friends were drunk instead of just the one that wasn't driving. And he followed them. And so they called and gave the license plate number, and the dispatcher or whatever said that he was not even on duty and not even supposed to be there. So he was just a friend of Brittany's and her husband's, which I'm not even going to mention his name or a fake name because he's not worth my time. And he's not a key factor in the story until maybe the very end. So at this point, everybody is finishing up and they're gone, and I'm finishing the last few things, putting them in my car, and we're working out how they're gonna pay me back the second month. Everything is fine. And I don't know how it got to this point, but she's like, I want your key back, and I'm gonna start moving my son's things into that room. And I'm like, but I actually still live here for 30 days, so no. Like I told you that my cat and myself are staying here. I am just moving my things out because I don't trust you. And she's like, well, that doesn't work. And this is after the cop has left, and I believe it's the next day, because I'm not about to like, I'm sorry guys, it's been so long that it's like hard for me to remember every single detail. All I do remember is that for some reason it went from me only getting back my money for the second month, to them arguing and saying that I couldn't have access to the house and therefore it was an illegal eviction. And I have it all in my text messages, so if you guys want me to read those back, it might help clarify the situation a little more. I mean, obviously everything wasn't in text, but a large portion of our arguments were in text, so it might help give some context. But I just remember it being an illegal eviction at this point because she wasn't going to give me my 30 days and wanted to start moving into my room before I was completely out. And I was like, you know what? It's fine if you move back into the room. I'll move the rest of my stuff out, but I still have access to the house and the washer and dryer. That's really all I need because I paid for that washer and dryer to begin with. So it's mine until I'm not paying to live here anymore. And she wouldn't do that, and she wanted the key back. And so I just stopped arguing, said, you're illegally evicting me, I'll sue you, bye, and left. And that's how we get to the part where I sue her and her husband in small claims court, and I'm asking for the full money return because I don't even think it was a month that I stayed there. No. Okay, this is where it's making more sense now. I hadn't been there even a week. I'd been there a week before my my visit to the Bay Area. This is making so much more sense now. I'd been there a week, and that second week was me in the Bay Area, but I still, obviously was living there. I had paid them extra money to live there those 2 weeks, and then it was gonna be 2 weeks plus 2 months. And so I hadn't even got into my first of the month yet before we were talking about 30 days notice and stuff. So I was fine originally with only getting a month back if I got to live there that whole month. But then it turned into me moving out entirely and all my stuff because I didn't trust her. And so I said, well, if I'm going to move out and I'm not even going to live here or have key or access to anything, I get my entire 2 months worth back, which is my entire washer and dryer amount. And she's like, no. She basically said no. She's like, you can have the washer and dryer back. And I was like, that's not our agreement. You said you'd pay for whatever that, if I moved out sooner, that you'd pay for, pay me back whatever the amount was, that because I had movers ready to move the washer and dryer to a storage unit in the Bay Area, and now they're gone, and I can't hire somebody else to come get it and move it to the storage unit in the Bay Area again. That's just not how it works unless you want to pay for that. So she wouldn't agree to pay me back in full and even give me my money back for my advance payment of 2 months worth of food money that I'd given them. She's like, what payment? I never received a payment. And this is after I have it in texts where she's like, yeah, I got it. It was on the counter. Bye. Have a good week. So now it's making more sense in my head. I was missing a key part again of the story that was like making me go ballistic because I was thinking, wait, I did stay there a month. Makes sense that I only got a month's worth back. But so I did take her to court for trying to get the entire thing back, and they only gave me a month's worth back. So half of the washer and dryer and half of the money I gave them for food. And that was a bummer. But the story's still not done, unfortunately, because then I had to wait for them to pay me. It took 3 or so weeks for the judgment to come in the mail because they don't do it electronically. So we all knew that they had a judgment of how much to pay me. They knew. They had weeks to prepare to pay me that money. And they get the judgment and I get the judgment, and so I text them and I'm like, okay, so where's my money? When are you gonna pay me? You have this many weeks to do so. And they're like, we're gonna file for a payment plan option because we can't afford to pay you in full. And I'm like, well, that's my money. You took it from me. So you can pay me back, and that's what I opted for. I have the right to decide how I get paid, not you. How I get paid my money is my decision. And she's like, well, I'm gonna file, so there's nothing you can do about it. And so basically they weren't gonna even start paying me any money. And so I was just like, fine, if we do this payment, she's like, is any payment plan an option for you, or are you stuck on me paying you in one full amount? And I was like, fine, do it in the span of 5 months. That's the most I'm giving you. I think it was 5, maybe 6 months, to pay me in full the $550, $600 they owed me. And we eventually agreed to that. It was going to be every 2 weeks when he got paid on a Friday. The first week went fine. I was like, okay, this is going to be fine. Of course, they argued with me for forever on what payment plan, like what payment method to use. And I said Apple Pay, and then they come to me on the day they were supposed to first pay me and say, well, we can't use Apple Pay, it's not working. You're gonna have to download an app and do it like that. And I was like, you're kidding me, right? I don't want it. Download an app just for your convenience. Thanks, but no thanks. And so I ended up downloading an app. Or no, I didn't end up downloading an app because one of the Zelle runs through Chase, and so I had the Chase app, and Zelle goes through Chase, so it's a part. My gosh, you're gonna witness a storm on camera. It's crazy out here, and it's bright and sunny, so it doesn't make any sense. Anyhow, so they pay me through Zelle for a while, and then they're like, we had to switch banks, it's not working, you're gonna have to download a app now. And so every time the wind goes crazy, they go crazy. So I downloaded an app because I was done arguing. I downloaded Venmo, and at some point I stopped having communication with Brittany because she was tired of me arguing, and I was tired of her, and she wasn't being civil, and I was like pissed. And so her husband starts messaging me instead on the days of payment, and he starts flirting with me. He's like, can't we be friends even if you and my wife aren't? And I was like, no, the only reason I know you or tolerated you is because of your wife, and now I don't know her or care for her, now I don't, like, I'm not friends with her anymore, so why would I want to stay friends with you? I don't even know you. The only reason I was in your house was because of your wife. And so he was basically harassing me at that point, and I was like, please stop, just send me the payment. And he eventually, we just finished it like this past month, of me getting paid in full, finally, a year and a half later. And so finally I'm done talking to them. I blocked them. They're no longer ever going to be in my life. And yeah, so that's the story, officially in full, or almost in full. If you want me to do a text message read video of that whole event, the entire events that happened in text message, I can do that. Just let me know in the comments down below. If not, I won't give it any further thought. I will finally put this to rest in my mind, hopefully, now that I've gotten it out there. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. I hope you guys have a good day or evening whenever you're watching this video. Please remember to like it and subscribe to my channel to see more content. All right, bye.